guys, I'm Rachel Demita, and welcome to the Courtside Club. We might collectively need group therapy after we are done with all of this WNBA CBA stuff, because boy, has the last 6 months been insanity. And just when you think things cannot get crazier, they do. And I want to talk about what has transpired over the past 24 hours when it comes to these WNBA CBA negotiations. And it all started with this bombshell article written by Alexa Filippo, and it was entitled "Plum and Stewart Raise Concerns Over WNBPA's Handling of CBA Talks." She said WNBPA Executive Committee members Kelsey...
The letter was 3 pages long, but it felt like a gunshot through the heart of the league. Kelsey Plum and Breanna Stewart didn't just voice concerns, they blew the doors off the WNBA's biggest secret. For months, we were told the players were a united front, standing on business and ready to take what's theirs. But that was a lie. These superstars just admitted they've been locked out of their own negotiations, blind to the proposals that will decide their entire financial future. The timing couldn't be worse, and the fallout is going to be nuclear.
Filippo, and it was entitled "Plum and Stewart Raise Concerns Over WNBPA's Handling of CBA Talks." She said WNBPA Executive Committee members Kelsey Plum and Breanna Stewart wrote a 3-page letter. I'm sending him a 4-page letter, but this time we're sending a 3-page letter to the Players Union Executive Director Terry Jackson, expressing serious concerns about how the PA is handling the current negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement, including the lack of adequate player involvement in the process. They requested a changed dynamic between our PA administrators and the players, and said, "We do not feel like we have an adequate..."
The unmitigated gall of the Players Association leadership is on full display right now. We are talking about the biggest stars in the game, the faces of the league, having to write a formal letter to their own executive director just to get a seat at the table. Terry Jackson, who isn't even a player, is out here steering the ship while the actual athletes are stuck in the cargo hold. This isn't just a breakdown in communication, it's a total systemic failure that threatens to derail the most important season in the history of women's professional basketball.
In front of our eyes, and it seems to all be triggered by this drop dead date that Adam Silver set as March 10th. Now, today, as I'm filming this, it is currently March 4th. They have less than a week to get this new CBA agreed upon, or else they run the risk of having their season delayed. I also feel like it's quite ironic. We don't even know if this date is the date. I was calling it out weeks ago, saying that I think the season is already delayed. I think they're already too late to get the season started on time and get everything done. Now, Adam Silver drops a March 10th date out of thin air, and now you see the players imploding over it. So I want to go on and tell you what else was in this letter. The thing,
March 10th, that is the drop dead date Adam Silver put on the table, and the clock isn't just ticking, it's screaming. With less than a week to go, the WNBA is melting down in real time. The players are divided into 2 camps, those who want to play and capitalize on the massive momentum of the Caitlin Clark era, and those who are willing to burn the whole house down for a deal they haven't even fully seen. It's an absolute circus, and the fans are the ones who are going to end up paying the price for this level of internal incompetence.
From the 70% net revenue, and they are at a 5.75 or 65 salary cap, not even to $6 million salary cap. The players are holding firm at a $9 million salary cap, and they are down to 26% gross revenue. That is millions and millions and millions of dollars away, and you have 6 days to figure it out. And now, with 6 days to figure it out, you're saying like, hey, we should be more involved. That's the thing when we go to this like strike authorization that they had, when all of the players said like, yeah, we'll authorize a strike. I really think that all of the players authorized this strike because they didn't think that we were going to get this far. They didn't think that they were going to get to the point where like, oh.
Let's talk about the math, because the numbers don't lie even when the PR teams do. The players are holding out for a gross revenue share. While the league has been clear from day one, they are only working with net revenue. The gap isn't just a few dollars, it's tens of millions. The PA is asking for a $9 million salary cap while the league is stuck around 6. They are worlds apart, and instead of finding a middle ground, the leadership is leading these women toward a strike that would be nothing short of financial suicide for the entire organization.
Process they have largely been excluded from. Like, I don't even know what's going on. What do you mean the players have been excluded from these negotiations? The players are the ones who are directly affected by these negotiations. So that's what I would like to know. I would like to know, is it players in the executive committee who have been withholding this information from other players? Or is it truly Terry Jackson and others who, again, are not players, but they are at the front lines of these negotiations? Is it their lawyers? Is it their whatever, who are doing all of it on behalf of the players, but will reap none of the consequences that the players will if they have a strike, if they have a shortened season, or with whatever deal?
The level of unprofessionalism here is staggering. While the league is finally getting mainstream attention, the Players Association is out here using inflatable rats and driving trucks with signs on them like they're in a low-budget movie. It's embarrassing. You have Kelsey Plum and Breanna Stewart, two of the most respected voices in the sport, admitting they didn't even see a proposal until January. How do you go months without showing your executive committee the actual terms of the deal? It feels like the players are being played like puppets.
It honestly feels like the WNBA is playing them like a little puppet. The WNBA, we have not heard from the league. The league has literally been sitting back. You know that meme where there's that girl and she's like on a swing or something and everything's on fire behind her? That's literally the league. They're just smirking like, yeah, just let them duke it out. Eventually they're going to agree to something, because that's how unprofessional the Players Association has been from the jump. And I've been one who has been calling it out, how unprofessional they are when it comes to the clapbacks that they put on social media. I don't even know who's writing those. Like, I don't even know who to blame. Honestly, it might be none of the players. The players might also not be to blame.
There is a massive fracture in the locker room that nobody wants to talk about. You have the veterans who have made their money and can afford to sit out, and then you have the younger players who are absolutely terrified. These rookies and mid-level players are the ones who will be destroyed if the season is delayed or canceled. They don't have the luxury of a strike fund or multi-million-dollar endorsements. They need to be on the court, yet they're being told to stay silent and fall in line while their livelihoods are being gambled away.
They said in every CBA negotiation, the goal of the league and teams is to divide the players. These negotiations are no different. We remain united and focused on delivering a transformational CBA for all members of this union and are committed to negotiating for as long as it takes. Who's lying? Who's lying? They're still united. Okay, continuing on. Our union's nearly unanimous vote in December to authorize us to call a strike if and when necessary was not taken lightly. It was made with complete faith and trust in ourselves and our negotiating committee led by Executive Director Terry Carmichael Jackson and President Neko Gumake to represent all players as we work to build a W that...
Adam Silver didn't pull that March 10th date out of thin air. He's a businessman and he knows that the league cannot afford to miss a single second of the momentum they have right now. The Caitlin Clark effect is real, and it's the biggest lifeline this league has ever been handed. To think that the Players Association would choose this exact moment to implode is beyond comprehension. It's like they've been handed a winning lottery ticket and they're arguing over what color pen to use to sign it while the ticket expires.
About this CBA and what makes it different than, say, the CBA that's going to happen with the MLB after this season. The WNBA is truly at a make or break point. Not having a season this year will likely destroy the league to a point that they won't be able to recover from in the next 25 years. I don't know how the WNBA bounces back if they don't have this season off the momentum that they have. The split that they are working for, they absolutely deserve to be paid more. They deserve to get a bigger revenue split than they had before, because the players and the product has proven that they are worth more and they do deserve that. But holding out to the point where you can't even get on the floor is...
The irony of this entire situation is that the players who are most vocal about standing on business are the ones who will be least affected by a lockout. When you hear the leadership talking about being resolute and together, you have to wonder who they are actually talking to, because it clearly isn't the players who are struggling to pay their bills. It's easy to call for a strike when your bank account is full, but it's a different story for the 144 players who just want to play the game they love and get paid a fair wage. We have to ask, who is really running the show? Terry Jackson is the executive director, but she doesn't put on a jersey. She doesn't have to worry about a shortened season affecting her stats or her longevity in the league. Yet, she's the one at the front lines while the actual players are feeling excluded. When your top stars have to go to the media and write letters to get basic information about their own CBA, the leadership has already failed. This is a total betrayal of the trust that the players placed in their union. The gaslighting coming out of the PA office right now is truly something to behold. They released a statement claiming they are united and focused, just hours after the Plum and Stewart letter leaked. You can't tell us the sky is blue when we can clearly see the storm clouds. They are trying to silence the dissent by making players feel like they are acting against the interest of the union if they ask questions. That is a toxic environment, and it's the exact opposite of what a healthy negotiation should look like. Think about the message this sends to the fans. People are finally excited about the WNBA. They are buying tickets, they are tuning in, and they are buying jerseys. And what do they see? A league that looks like it's about to eat itself alive. If there is a strike or a shortened season, the damage to the brand will be irreparable. We saw what happened to other leagues when they stopped playing. It took years, sometimes decades, to get the fans back. The WNBA doesn't have decades to spare. The players are being told to die on the hill of gross revenue when the league has already offered 70% of net revenue. At some point, you have to be realistic. You can't demand a piece of the pie that doesn't exist yet. The league is finally growing, but it's still in a fragile state. Demanding millions more than the league currently generates is a recipe for disaster. It's time for the players to look at the league's proposals seriously instead of holding out for a fantasy number that will never materialize. The internal bullying needs to stop. The letter from Plum and Stewart explicitly stated that players are made to feel like they are acting against the interests of the PA when they express concerns. That is a clear sign of a leadership that is more interested in power than in the well-being of its members. You cannot have a united front if half of the people in the room are too afraid to speak up. It's a fake unity that is destined to crumble the moment things get difficult. Let's go back to the inflatable rat and the truck. Is that really the image the WNBA wants to project? In an era where they are trying to prove they belong on the same stage as the NBA and other major sports, they are using playground tactics. It makes the entire league look like an amateur operation. Adam Silver and Kathy Engelbert are trying to build a global brand, and the PA is out here making it look like a high school drama. It's time to grow up and get to the negotiating table like professionals. The most heartbreaking part of this is the potential loss of the 2024 season's momentum. We have a generational talent in Caitlin Clark coming into the league, along with a stacked rookie class that has the potential to change everything. If the veterans and the PA leadership blow this, they aren't just hurting themselves, they are robbing these young women of their moment. They are destroying the bridge before the next generation even has a chance to cross it. It's selfish and it's short-sighted. The league office is just sitting back and watching the chaos unfold. Why wouldn't they? They've made their offers, they've set their deadlines, and now they get to watch the players fight amongst themselves. The WNBA leadership knows that the longer this drags on, the more desperate the players will become. By failing to stay organized and transparent, the Players Association has handed all the leverage over to the owners. It is a tactical disaster of the highest order. We've seen this movie before, and it never ends well for the players. When a league is at a make or break point, a work stoppage is the break. If they don't play this year, the investment will dry up. The TV deals will be reevaluated. The sponsors will walk away. The WNBA has spent 25 years trying to get to this level of relevance, and they are about to throw it all away over a disagreement about revenue splits that haven't even been fully explained to the membership. The survey the PA sent out was a classic manipulation tactic. Asking players if they would accept less than 15% of gross revenue is a loaded question designed to get a no answer. It doesn't tell the whole story of the 70% net revenue offer. It's a way for the leadership to claim they have the players' support while keeping them in the dark about the actual nuances of the deal. It's dishonest, and it's a slap in the face to the intelligence of these world-class athletes. Kelsey Plum and Breanna Stewart are not just random players. They are the heart and soul of the league's success. If they are feeling excluded and frustrated, you can bet the rest of the league is feeling it tenfold. Their decision to go public with this letter was a cry for help. It was an admission that the system is broken and that the people in charge are not listening. When your best employees start blowing the whistle, you know the house is on fire. The reality of the WNBA is that for most of its history, players had to go overseas just to make ends meet. They fought so hard for every single inch of progress. To see all that hard work put at risk because of a lack of communication is tragic. The players deserve to be paid, they deserve better travel, and they deserve a fair share of the growth. But they won't get any of that if there is no league to play in. You can't win a negotiation if you destroy the business in the process. The clock is ticking toward March 10th, and the silence from the PA on the actual details is deafening. Every day that passes without a deal is a day that the league loses ground. The fans are waiting, the rookies are waiting. The future of the sport is hanging in the balance. If the PA doesn't get its act together and start listening to its own players, they are going to find themselves on the outside looking in, wondering how they let the greatest opportunity in sports history slip through their fingers. Alicia Clark just confirmed the tension on ESPN, admitting that the proposals aren't where they need to be. But the real issue isn't just the proposal, it's the process. If the players don't trust the people negotiating on their behalf, no deal will ever be good enough. The WNBA is at a crossroads, and right now they are headed straight for a cliff. It's time for the leadership to stop the PR stunts, stop the gaslighting, and start being honest with the women who actually make the league run. At the end of the day, this isn't just about a contract, it's about the soul of the league. The WNBA has a chance to finally become the powerhouse it was always meant to be, but that requires leadership that is as elite as the players on the court. Right now, the players are being failed by a union that is more interested in a standoff than a solution. If they don't fix this by March 10th, the roast won't just be from the media, it will be the epitaph of a season that could have changed everything.